This is the Sunday edition of the 217 Recovery Podcast. Tonight's episode was carefully selected by Marney.
Could be little, could be big. But going back out is not the answer.
Sit back, relax, or do whatever it is you do, and enjoy Marney's Sunday night replay.
It might be childish, sure, but that's kind of what drugs do, you know.
This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
This is going back to the letter that you didn't find. Sorry, Corey's mom.
It is June 27th, 2020. My name is Corey Winfield, and this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Thanks for listening. Joining me again in the studio tonight is Marney Liston. Marney, how are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Such a big day for 217 Recovery, the podcast, just the organization overall. God's been good to us, and we'll get to that more a little bit later. I know you really want to talk about that, and what was kind of presented to us, and it's sort of presented to us. I mean, it's definitely something that we're going to pursue, and definitely exciting for us. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, though, I want to talk about this opportunity that was presented to us to help somebody out. We got a call the other day, and it was like, hey, this guy needs to go check himself into a treatment center, and the treatment center just happened to be Skywood Recovery, which I'm very familiar with. And Courtney is a good friend of ours, Courtney Quick, and she actually let us tour. Chris Goss and I went down and toured the facility. A beautiful place. And everybody I met, I really liked, and I enjoyed what they had to say about recovery. And it wasn't just hey, come in here and let us take your money. We want to be the biggest. It was like, hey, we just want to be a part of something that can change somebody's life and turn it around for them. And those things do cost money, and it's a business, but those people, I really got the feeling that they cared. So when I was told this kid was going to go there, this guy, then I thought, wow, okay, yeah, this would be perfect. I started talking to the father, and I could sense a real fear in his voice, the fear of, I don't know what to do. I love my son, and I'm stuck because I can't do anything because his addiction is grabbing him, and he's going to die if he keeps doing this. And we love him. I could sense that fear in his voice, and I put my mom through so much. It just reminded me of that, and it gets to a point where my parents, they would get mad and frustrated. And my stepdad was really getting frustrated. It was like, I don't know if he said this to me or if I just kind of got the tone of voice, or maybe he did say it. It was something like, why do you keep putting your mother through this? And it got to a point where he understood that I wasn't doing this for fun. It wasn't like, hey, Corey's going to go get trashed and throw a party. And no, it wasn't for fun. I think he realized that at the end. But I remember one time my mom telling him my blood alcohol level was like 0.83 or something, and he said, no, you got that wrong. It was probably 0.05 or something. And she's like, no, Mike, I know what I was told. And I remember coming to in the emergency room, and I just remember, like, I don't have pants on. I look up, and there's my mom and my stepdad. Okay, well, can I get some pants? And I remember the doctor coming in and saying whatever my blood alcohol level was. It was higher than what it was, that 0.583, and my stepdad's face was just like he couldn't believe it. Like he just witnessed the longest home run ever hit at Wrigley Field or something. He was just like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Like, how is he not dead? And I think that's kind of when it clicked for him that, I wasn't doing it for fun, and I wasn't doing it to piss my family off or to hurt anybody. It was that out of control with my drinking and the alcohol. So he came to a point where I could even see him being compassionate, and I remember he sat with me in my apartment one time, and he came over a couple times where I was just completely a mess, and he just sat, and he didn't scold me, he didn't tell me I was a bad person, he just said, look, man, let's give you some help. and that meant a lot, you know, it really did. And I could tell the gentleman who called, and I was talking to him, and I could hear that sense of, I don't know what to do. And it was such the beginning, you know, of, well, hopefully is a short journey for this family with dealing with addiction, but, you know, hopefully his son doesn't have to go to 15 treatment centers. And that's the thing too. Some treatment centers will want to hurry up and rush, and each person's different. There are some people that reach out, and when they do, they're at a good spot and a good point where, yeah, you can take them to treatment because they really do want help. And there is hours, you know, where it's very crucial that you get them in touch with the right people and to the right place. And then, you know, it depends on the drug too, you know. But this kid was scared of this guy. I keep calling him kid. I'm sorry about that. But he's just quite a bit younger than me. To me, he is a kid. But he's scared. He's never been to treatment, and he doesn't really know what to expect. And I think, and again, I'm not a therapist, not anything like that, not a counselor. I'm just going on experience. From my experience, that might have been the last time I went to treatment. I'm pretty sure it was. We had pizza from DiMaggio's. There's a plug. And that's my favorite pizza place. So we had pizza. The family came over, and we talked. And, you know, my sister and my nephews and everybody was there, and, you know, they told me that they loved me and my brother, and it was good, and it was very, very emotional. And, you know, at that point in my life, I felt like, how could anybody love me? I don't love myself. You know, I've heard these people so many times with, yeah, this is it. This is the last time. And I go, do it again. You know, like, how can they trust me this time? And so to have that kind of support before I went in, and it was something that I wanted. I wanted to stop. I didn't want to have another drink of alcohol. And so, you know, I kind of suggested that to the dad. I was like, you know, the kid's scared, and the last thing you want to do is get somebody in a car and run them off and take them to a place when they're unsure, they're uncomfortable, and the only thing they're going to be thinking about when they get there is, I want to leave. I don't want to be here. You know, and if you can go into it, and again, it depends on your drug. Everybody's different. Every situation is going to be different. But kind of getting a feel for this situation, and I told the dad, like, I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know what's going on. But have you tried, you know, sitting down and, you know, maybe have a family meal, sit down this weekend, talk about it, you know, and if he still needs help, and it'll be obvious, and, you know, have him make up his mind that he wants to go. You know, I didn't say that, but it's pretty much in so many words. And, you know, the father wrote back and said, I just wish he would sit down and have a meal with us and talk to us about it. And he texted me, the gentleman that wanted to go to the rehab, and he wasn't sure and was scared. He messaged me last night, and, you know, he had a few questions, and I answered them. And, you know, I shot him a text today, asked him, you know, how it was going, and, you know, he told me that he was going to have a barbecue with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's parents. I thought that was a great idea, because he could sit down with other people that love him and say, look, man, like, you know, if you need help, it's okay. And I told him that too. And if he needs anything, you know, he has my phone number. I'm not going to put his name out there or anything, but it'd be cool if he was listening. But it's one of those things that I think pushing him into a place where he was already uncomfortable could have been a really bad thing, where, you know, if he has a nice meal, sits around, and comes to the conclusion of himself, and he was the one who reached out to the facility in the first place. So there was some kind of sense of, I need help. I don't want to live this way anymore, which is a great thing. I mean, it's great to want to have a great life and to not be doing drugs and let your addiction take the best of you. And he's so young. I mean, I don't know. I just hope it all works out for him, and I hope he stays in touch with me. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I talk a lot.
No, absolutely. I mean, the young man that, you know, he's obviously hurting. From my understanding, he had himself reached out to Skywood, I think, at first off. Mm-hmm. And it was a transportation issue, and that's how we kind of got a hold of him and what was going on with the situation. But No, you're right. It's completely different for everyone. And, I was thinking about it when you were talking, and I don't think that if you took everyone that was in rehab on like their first day there, how, like, first off, what got them there? Like, how did they actually get there? I mean, we all know what got us there is, that we need help from, our addiction. But there's people there from all different, avenues of life and all different spots in their life. And it's just gotten to the point where they need, to address their addiction issue. But I mean, there's people that are there for legal issues, that kind of like have to be there, like that's just cut and dry. Whether they are ready for it in their life or not at that moment, you always hope that that what's being said in those rooms and those groups and, meeting with those therapists and being around other people that are facing those same problems, that something's going to click. For whatever reason, however they got there. Nobody cares how you get there. It's just what you do while you are there. And to be open-minded, I think is the biggest piece of kind of like letting all that stuff that's being talked about, that's being brought up, that's you're, kind of, I don't want to say forced, that's not right, but, kind of guided to address in your life about you and your addiction and your feelings and, your relationships and your failures and your skills that you do have. And it's a lot of stuff, and that is overwhelming. So, I mean, whether this young man's, I know. He is young, though, but we're old. But anyway, to actually, walk through those doors is a scary thing. I overheard the phone call with the father, and I could hear the same kind of fear in his voice. And, it's all out of love. I'm sure that family is praying for him and praying that he has the strength to go. And, I'm praying for him. But yeah, to get into rehab is, for me, it took 4. It took 4 times, and it took me to want to go for myself and to make the phone calls myself and to go in there like, I really need to work on me. I need to be open and honest and willing and do this thing, and that's what it took for me. Some people get there because family does actually have a big piece of it and is kind of more, I don't want to say pushing, but advocating for that route because they kind of are like, we don't know what else to do with them. Or health issues, could be it. Jobs, make people go sometimes. Mm-hmm. Relationships, like, threatening of, if you don't go to rehab, I'm going to leave you, or whatever. Family, you can't be around the kids like that. And there's a whole world of reasons, and all of them have good, solid reasoning behind why it is that they're being pushed by whomever it is they're being pushed by. But it's only, at the end of the day, it's only because those people, whoever they are, want you to get better. At the end of the day, it's that other people care. And it might sound weird, like the court cares, but no, they really do. I mean, they're hoping that you're going to learn something while you're there. That's just the route that they're trying to get you to take. And so, no, I really hope that that young man, considers getting into rehab wherever it is. Skywood is an excellent place. I've heard you speak volumes about that location, and they seem really organized and a good place to be. But, the family piece I can relate to as well. So,
and even though there's meaning behind it and those people care and they want it, and, whether it's for, the wife or the ex-wife or whoever saying, you're not going to see the kids unless you go to rehab. If you don't go into it with the mindset of, I want to change for myself, and these people are pointing these things out to you, not to dig at you, not to, I would hope not to, and maybe sometimes they do, to put your imperfections on blast, but, take it as, hey, they see something that's wrong in me that you don't see, and think about it, and, you're going to want to change, right? I mean, I don't know. I didn't until the end there, until I did want to really change, and it was a little bit at a time until I could totally just give in. Okay, I get it. Like, I can't half-ass this anymore. I really do need to change my life. And we've talked about this before, about how change is scary, and there was comfort in what I was doing, even though it was killing me. There was comfort in knowing, here's what I can expect today. I can go work, I can go be on the radio, I can come home, I can close the door, and I can escape in my own mind. I can watch dumb TV shows and drink till I pass out. Wake up, I can do it all over again. And that's a sad, sad life. I wouldn't be where I'm at now. But I had to go through all of that to be where I'm at now. So it's catch-22. But I want to go back to the father. And, you said you kind of caught some of that conversation, and you kind of felt the same. So, and I was kind of leery about this, but I'm glad I did do it. I shared with him a podcast that you actually did, you and my mom and my sister, and I started listening to it. And like the first 10 minutes, you guys were just joking around. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't even know, if he listened to the podcast. But I also gave him my mom's phone number, and I was going to tell her about it, and then I forgot. I didn't forget. I just figured, she'll figure it out. But he reached out to my mom, and, he thanked me big time for that. And he said, you were lucky that you had your mom, in your corner. And absolutely. Yeah, I know that big time. And of course I shot back, I made her a pro. I made her a pro at this kind of stuff. And, she wasn't, really trying to tell him too much about what to do, but she was just kind of there for him, to go, look, I've been through it, more support, like, don't give up. And I think that's what she told him was, don't give up on them, and you can't scold them, you can't yell at them. It's not them, it's their brain, and this is how it's working right now. And I think she did a great job, and I told her that, and she did say, why don't you go to this place? It's a horrible Chinese restaurant. And I was like, Mom, no, don't send them there. I was like, that's horrible. And, so I had to shoot a message. I'm like, don't go to that place. It's horrible. It's a horrible Chinese restaurant. And so he wrote back and he's like, no, we're locked in on Skywood. I'm like, okay, good, because that place is amazing. Not that I want to go back, but if I had to.
Well, I think it's the same kind of thing with family members relating to other family members of people that are struggling in addiction is the same relationship that alcoholics and addicts have with one another.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we can talk to each other and talk about whatever, and it doesn't shock and shake us. It's kind of like we can have a normal conversation about the craziest things, and it's just like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I get it. But, when you're talking with somebody else, and it's this comfort factor, it's like not being scared to say the wrong words or, kind of, spill your guts, because that's what we're there for. And it's just, it's an amazing feeling to have that kind of freedom in your words and with your feelings with another person to share like that. And I think it's nice that, and there should be more of that, family members being able to communicate with each other, because they can say, I've been there, my son or daughter, put me through the ringer or whatever the case may be. And this is how I handled it, and they're not all beautiful stories. They're awful stories, and they're sad stories, and they're, but they made it through, so far. And I know sometimes we kind of need to be careful, because we're talking about this like it's, they still have to deal with us, on a daily basis and stuff like that. But no, in terms of, they can say, like your mom could say to that gentleman or to the father, I know what you're feeling right now. I know that you're scared for your son and that you don't know what words to say.
She has empathy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's actually what sparked me giving him my mom's number. Was he said something about, I don't know, what can I do? Or, you know, he was like looking for advice for me, and I don't know, man. I'm on this side of the fence, you know, and that's when I thought, well, you know, do you like how I drag people into 217 recovery too? How it's just hey, and Chris Goss can attest to this, and you know, I was like, wait a minute, I was just going to be on the show. The next thing you know, I'm like, come on, Chris, let's do the podcast. And now I'm like, hey, come on, Marney. And now my mom's going to find out, oh, hey, yeah, you're president of 217 recovery, one of them, and oh yeah, you're getting drug in too. But no, I think that's something that my mom could take pride in too, knowing that, you know, she didn't give up on me, and I'm doing stuff, and we're becoming successful, and you know, that's what she wants. And if she can help somebody else too, and she would have loved to have somebody, and maybe she did, I don't know, I don't think she did, to have somebody that she could turn to that would understand, like you said, you know, I think my mom put it in a text to me, non-addict to non-addict, which of course I think everybody's addicted to something, versus addict to addict, and that's exactly what, you know, you were relating to is, you know, you and I can talk all day, we get it, we know, we understand, you know, but they could talk all day and we wouldn't get it, you know, and until, I don't know, I don't want to even say that, but so I'm not going to.
Well, I think that's a lot of the reason why 217 Recovery Podcast appeals to not just people that are in recovery, but the family members or the bosses, or, you know, whomever that is dealing with people with addiction, because it's almost like getting into our heads, you know, to hear like what we are thinking and how things work, and then kind of like, because we touch on stuff like this, you know, we talk about it's not just about us in our daily life in recovery, but the people we come across and how, you know, we communicate with them, or, you know, situations just like you're talking about the family members, and because a lot of people don't know what to say, you know, and don't know who to reach out to, and so, I mean, they say recovery affects everyone, you know, it's not just the person, everyone that they interact with, it you know, affects them in some way, shape, or form, and almost always 9 times out of 10, it's always not in a great way, you know, for those hard times. So, yeah. Yeah.
We met with a guy today too. We'll switch topics to something I know you wanted to talk about. Huh?
It's not really switching.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. There you go. I'm excited about it. No, we went. Well, I'll let you tell the story.
Well, we actually, I came across meeting a gentleman by the name of Randy Burgess. He is a fantastic man. He works for Faith Reformed Church, and I came across him through personal things I was working on, reaching out for some help, and anyhow, we became kind of good friends, and I shared my story with him, and he, you know, was interested in hearing about myself and what I was doing with my life, that I'm now working with other alcoholics and addicts as my job in a treatment facility, and you know, just the kind of the strides that I've made, and how, you know, through all that you know, God's been a big part of that. You know, sometimes I feel like I don't bring my higher power up enough in when I talk about my recovery, because it's always something, you know, my higher power is something that's always been a huge thing that I know has gotten me to where I'm at today. You know, I've had to put a lot of work into it. I put a lot of effort into it, but I also feel like I've gotten that strength from my higher power. You know, and but he, he knows, he's got his stories about, people in recovery, because he works with the community in all different arenas. That church is a huge asset for Traverse City. I think it's Safe Harbor, I believe, is also, they work with them, the single mothers, I can't remember the name, I apologize, but all different kinds of agencies, nonprofit agencies, they help them out. They do community dinners, I do believe, on Thursdays, and all kinds of good stuff. So, but yeah, was really interested in hearing about what we do and what we're all about. So we had an awesome conversation. We got to tour the church and all of the buildings that they have. They hold NA meetings there at Jacob's Well. Those are, I think, now just barely kind of starting up. They're being very COVID cautious, but they're, so things are starting to take shape again with their services and so on. But he was an amazing person to talk to and had a lot of good things to say about what we were doing. He recognized and commended our efforts and totally agreed, like, what we're doing is really pertinent to, being out there and helping people, and he was really proud of us. So it meant a lot. It was a really good meeting. We gave him a shirt. Yeah. He's rocking the 217 Recovery Podcast shirt.
He's like, what am I going to hear when I listen to this? It depends which one you listen to.
Yeah, right.
Some are more serious, some are goofy, sometimes I don't know. They're all over the board, but that's what keeps it fresh, too, in my mind, because we could sit here and we could do the same show over and over and over, and I don't know. To me, that's boring. I don't want to do that. And sometimes it feels like it, but it doesn't. Every day is different, and we pretty much open up and talk about our day. And Rodney was great. Randy was great. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we do stuff in the future. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Mm-hmm. And our faith is all that. Not all that we can lean on, but something that we can lean on for sure. And, being spiritual like I am, it's a good feeling to have other people in the community back you and, to give credit to God. Mm-hmm. And, that's what we do. And great things have been happening for us. And so why would we stop?
Right. And I mean, I think it kind of just reminded me, like I was saying, I don't know if I talk about it enough, and I don't know. I guess just how people in general view or think about what part or what piece that their higher power plays in their recovery, because for me it's huge. I pray. I don't get down on my knees and pray. I pray all the time. Like I'll pray when I'm in the shower. I'll pray when I'm, making breakfast. There's no schedule or anything, but I kind of just like talk to God about, what's going on with me and kind of, what I need help with, and just my gratefulness most of all is just what I'm grateful for, and the thank yous for everything that I have in my life today. Just to recognize that. And, I think it's just important. For me, it's important. I mean, I think everybody in their recovery is different, but, whatever he didn't even come across as like pushing religion. I don't think that people need to, really, what do they call that? Pigeonhole, what it is that they believe in. It's not like, if whoever your God is, I'm cool with that. Whoever it is that you is your higher power, is, hey, go for it. As long as you're believing in something that's, bigger than you, then that you can draw strength from, then, that's the whole deal. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was a good day.
It was a great day.
And Thursday, and it was Thursday. And I think I had mentioned in my last, maybe I didn't. I don't know, because I know I interviewed Jewel from the Daily Recovery Zone in Pawpaw on Thursday about the event that they're having in September, and I thought I mentioned that we were reviewed. Our podcast got reviewed in this podcast where these guys, actually they're called Those Guys from Wichita. Yeah, and that takes me a minute. I'm horrible at names, but they reviewed the podcast, and one of the things, and we're going to get into it. I'll play it exactly what they said and how it went down.
We care what Wichita thinks.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
But they mentioned us, and they, not really critiqued us, but they just kind of gave what they thought about the show, and it was good stuff. And we'll play that tomorrow. I don't want to get into that now because there's a lot I want to talk about, but they pretty much said too, they're like, wow, this guy, and if we think this girl is his girlfriend, maybe, I don't know. But they said that, yeah, if you're on the fence about whether you should stop drinking or not, don't listen to the podcast if you want to quit drinking, or if you don't want to quit drinking, because it will make you want to quit drinking. And they, mentioned how real it was. And the guy even said, yeah, and I don't know what episode he listened to. I think it was maybe last week's or something, where maybe it was Tuesdays. I don't know. But he had said that I was talking about, thinking about drinking and, oh, what a good buzz that is. And then when you actually start drinking, you realize that buzz isn't even that good. Mm-hmm. And so you keep going and going and going, trying to chase it. And it never was that good in the first place. And now you're right back at square one. So he was like, wow, that really made him think. And like I said, I'll play the whole segment from their podcast of them talking about our podcast tomorrow on Sunday. So
I always think it's interesting when people that like aren't alcoholics or addicts are not really like shooting for listening to something like, I'm just going to review some podcasts. I mean, we could have been listening to food, critique podcasts.
Oh, they were rough on some of them.
Yeah. I mean, they were all over the board. And I'm like, and then you like hit on us. You're probably just like, whoa. All right. No, but they were kind, I think.
Yeah.
I was happy with it.
There was a couple they didn't like, and they were pretty honest about that. And like I said, I've not reviewed, but listened to some recovery podcasts, and I like my friend Mr. Deere.
You heard from him lately?
I haven't, and he was going to be on the podcast, so we had to touch base with him again. But I liked what he had to talk about. But he's in New Zealand, I think, and the time difference is such a crazy thing. I mean, we could make it happen for sure, a happy middle or a happy medium or whatever. But I liked the way he talked, about recovery, and you could just feel that passion. And some of these guys, I don't know, I was listening to this one show, and he was just like, yeah, we're broadcasting from some recovery center in Florida on the Caribbean or something. And I'm like, I'm like, so you're taking money from and that's nothing wrong with that, man. Dude's got to eat. But, it sounded more like it was a radio station remote where, hey, we're broadcasting live.
Recovery in Paradise.
Turks and whatever it's called.
Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, there you go. I don't vacation much. So, it just kind of made me feel like, really, dude, you're going to talk about how great this place is. And, oh, they're not paying you. They just flew you there for free. And that's paying you, bro. Like, they set you up in a hotel, gave you a bunch of free stuff. That you have to claim that on your taxes. So, I don't know. But yeah, there's some that are just like, whoa. And I don't know. I think that we're all right. But it was cool that they didn't say we sucked or anything, which I knew they wouldn't say that. But we'll play it for you tomorrow. And of course, you're listening to this. It's probably Sunday already. We got a little late start on it, and but we do appreciate you listening. That's for sure. And Anna, I want to throw a shout out to her because she was cracking me up today. First of all, she's on this Bigfoot kick. Did she send you the movie video?
I didn't look in my emails.
Well, you saw the video. Well, you were on the podcast.
Yeah.
We were at Anna's, and we talked to her about her Bigfoot experience, where she said she saw Bigfoot. And so we played the video for her of the guy from North Carolina. And
and he says, get.
Yeah, I saw him over here. So now she's on this kick, and she's sending me songs with that being remixed. And well, today she sends me a video, and I guess she was in St. Ignace by the ferries. Maybe she was going to Mackinac Island, I don't know. But they have a Bigfoot statue. So she grabs the stick and she's like quoting the dude word for word. Yes, and I saw him over here, and get. So I told her, I was like, send me that video, because I pray I have time to make that into some kind of remix, because I think that would be awesome.
Oh, that's great.
It was funny, and I give her a shout out for that. And then she told me too, she was like, hey, and I love that you and her are trying, and well, not trying, you guys are finding different avenues for 217 recovery to go. And, we look for donations and support from the community. And she ran into a guy, and she said he was a hot dog vendor, sold hot dogs. I got to talk to her more about it. But she said that he, gives his profits to nonprofit organizations, and that he was going to do that for 217 recovery this year. And I thought, well, okay, well, what's the name of the place, Anna? Like, we can, we didn't tell him, hey, if you give us that, we'll give you plugs on our show, but we should give him a big thank you on our show, and we definitely will do that. But, a name would be great, Anna. And I don't know. It's very cool. And I just think everything's coming around, and we had talked about our higher power and God a little bit ago, but I think everything's coming around just like it's supposed to, with Anna, now having more time, you having more time at this moment. I think it's all happening for a reason. And I'm excited, and, just the fact to kind of get everybody together. And Anna texted me this morning too, because I told her about the event in Paw Paw that we're going to on September 19th, the Recovery Zone rally. First, not going to say it, just going to say the first.
Okay.
Not going to say annual, Jewel. And I told her about that, and she's like, oh my gosh, can we speak? I'm like, I'm sure, yeah, we could probably talk, whatever, we're be doing our podcast from there and stuff. And
next thing you know,
yeah, get up there. And so she woke up the next morning, and she texted me, and she said, oh my God, I had a dream that I was at the UFAM rally, and I was up there speaking. And she said she was so nervous that when she woke up, she was still nervous and had to go. It's like, I had to go outside and smoke a cigarette real fast because I was still so nervous.
That's funny.
Oh, wait till you get up there, Anna, in front of thousands of people all staring at you.
Right.
Better not mess up, Anna. Just kidding. No, I think we messed up enough the first time I had Anna up, and when we did like some speaker night thing, and it was horrible. And I just kind of looked at the guys and was like, well, we can't get much worse than that, so let's move forward. And I've had those moments in radio, where I was on stage and there's like thousands of people out there, and I never messed up that bad, but whatever, man. You learn to get over it pretty quick. There was one time, though, I couldn't throw a shirt off stage, and I didn't know how far the stage really was, and it's hard throwing a T-shirt. That's why they have guns that shoot them.
I would love to see that.
And so I'm like,
it's gotta be on social media somewhere.
Pointing at the crowd. I think it was like for Rodney Carrington, or we had to introduce somebody like that or something, and I don't know. It was when I was in Arkansas, and pointing at the crowd like, you want a shirt over here? Doing the Hulk Hogan, like with the ear and the hand. What? Over here? Can you hit me? What? Yeah. Threw it. And I hear laughter, and I'm like, what? And then Steve's like, Steve, we called him the hater. He worked for the country station. He was up there with me too. He's like, didn't make it off stage, windshield. And I was like, huh? He's like, didn't make it off stage. And I looked, oh, shit. So I went and picked, it was at the end. So like all the front row was just like, wow, you couldn't even throw it off the stage. Yeah, it was bad. And I was like, whatever. There you go.
I'm just picturing this. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, it was great. I was getting them worked up. We want it over here. Doing the Hulk Hogan. Da, 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 da. Yeah, and then go chuck it, and it doesn't even make it off the stage. So, I mean, those were those moments, you know? So, I mean, that was pretty embarrassing. And you just kind of look and just go, okay. There's worse things that have happened. And one time we were at this country fest, and it was in Oklahoma. No, it was in Arkansas. Mulberry Mountain, Thunder on the Mountain. And then there was 100,000 people easy. And it was like this 3-day festival. There were so many babies made. Oh, I don't want to think about that. But so there's all these people out there, and they just had like some kind of like hippie fest or something the week before, and I don't know what the porta potties. There was some situation with something, and the whole place smelled like just dookie. It really wasn't that fun. So anyway, back to my story though about on stage. So we're on stage, and my coworker, she worked in Fayetteville. And I worked for a Fayetteville station, but I did my show from Fort Smith. I did my show in Fort Smith from Fort Smith, and my show in Fayetteville from Fort Smith. So I'd only meet up with them, a few times a year. But since I was promotions director, it started to be more and more. So we kind of worked this event together, and we go out together to introduce this band. And I was like, I'm not about this country life. I don't know what these people. I don't know who they are. I hate country. So I let her go ahead and introduce, and I just kind of went out there to support her because she was all like nervous and, I can't mess this up. And she had her little cards, and so anyway, the band, I don't remember what band it was. If it wasn't Brooks and Dunn, but it was like I don't remember. But anyway, it'd be like saying, "Hey, here's Metallica recording artist Silver Records." She mixed them.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of saying, like, here's the Silver Records artist Metallica, it was like, here's Metallica artist Silver Records. And I just looked at her in the face of,
man,
like, was on her face, and I couldn't do anything but laugh. I was like, oh my God, like I didn't even know that. Like, that was bad. And this is the look on her face is like, I still just see it today. And Audrey, if you're listening, that was hilarious. Audie, sorry, but yeah, I doubt she's listening. But
maybe she's like, at least I can throw a t-shirt off the stage.
Ooh, zinger!
I'm
I
kidding.
don't know, but those were good times. And so anyway, yeah, but Anna, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. And if anything, I'll go up there and I'll either laugh at you if you mess up, or I'll throw some t-shirts. And I'll make it easy for you for sure. But no, it's once you do it a couple 100 times, it's nothing. So it just takes a couple 100 times. But no, it doesn't take that much. But once you kind of get to I'm telling my story, like first of all, they're not gonna know if you mess up. Mm-hmm. Just keep going. But we should film. We should do that. We should film like us practicing. And by us, I mean you and Anna and Chris. If Chris still wants to do it, I gotta get a hold of him. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I just want to film stuff now. I got the camera,
I know.
phone. Oh, and one thing that we do need to mention before we go is the license plate for the 217 recovery car.
Yeah, right on.
Coincidence or not? You tell me. Okay, the first letters.
Yeah, I open up the license. Well, we've been waiting for this to come in the mail for over 2 weeks now. So we finally get it, and I snapshot the actual package because I was like, oh, it's going to be like Christmas. I'll let him open it up or whatever. Well, then he asked if there's the screws come with it. So I'm like, oh, check and see. Because I couldn't really, it was bulky because there was a bunch of paper in there on top of it. So I thought maybe there might have been in there. I open it up. I'm texting him back. Like, nope, doesn't look like there's any screw. And as I'm typing this text, I take the plate out, and it says DD, 2356 or something. And I was like, you gotta be totally kidding me right now. Yeah, guess we're DD now.
At first,
how did they know?
Yeah, designated drivers. And first I just thought, oh, double D's. Not really. But kind of really. But then you're like, oh, I'm like, oh yeah, this, designated driver.
Yeah.
That's coincidence? I don't know.
I
think God's playing it out for us. But yeah, well, we'll review the review of our review from those guys in Wichita's podcast tomorrow, and I think we're going to review a movie again too. And then I got an email from a lady, and maybe some other people can chime in on this and maybe give advice to what they would do or how they would handle the situation. It has to do with marijuana and a 16-year-old. Yeah, tune in tomorrow. But thanks for listening, and 217recovery.com resources. There's online meetings, links to that, Instagram, our blogs. Anna's got the blog, Jay's got a blog, Marney's got a blog, I got a blog. Everybody got a blog. And then listen to Broken and Beautiful. Anna said she's going to do another one tomorrow, so we'll see about that. And then listen for ours, too. We're on Pandora now. We're on all the platforms. So find us, and appreciate it if you share us with your friends. Have a good night or day.
See ya, everybody.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. For more episodes plus bonus features, download the 217 Recovery app.